Under the weather? It sounds harmless, but what does weather have to do with feeling sick? Because this phrase didn't start as a figure of speech, it started in a place where the weather could genuinely make you ill. Out at sea. Hundreds of years ago, life on a ship was unpredictable. Sailors spent weeks, sometimes months, surrounded by nothing but open water. No shelter, no escape. Just the sky above them, and the weather controlled everything. A calm day meant progress, but a storm, that was something else entirely. The wind would rise, waves would crash over the deck, the ship would tilt, slam, and roll without warning. And for the sailors on board, it wasn't just dangerous, it was unbearable. Because the human body isn't built for constant motion like that. The moment the sea turned rough, something else followed. Sickness. Not the kind you catch, the kind you feel. A deep, uncontrollable nausea. Your balance disappears, your stomach turns, your head spins, and suddenly, even standing becomes a challenge. This is what we now call seasickness. But back then, there was no real way to treat it. So sailors came up with a simple solution. If you couldn't handle the storm above deck, you went below it, down into the lower levels of the ship, away from the wind, away from the violent motion, away from the worst of the weather. Because below deck, things were different, darker, quieter, more stable. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to help you recover. So, when a sailor started feeling sick, they would be sent below. Quite literally, under the weather. And that phrase had a very specific meaning. It didn't just describe how they felt, it described where they were. Hidden beneath the deck. Out of sight. Recovering while the storm raged above. It was practical, direct, and completely tied to the reality of life at sea. But like many phrases, it didn't stay there. Over time, the meaning began to shift. Sailors returned home, stories spread, and the phrase followed. People started using it beyond the ship, not just for sailors, but for anyone who felt unwell. You didn't need a storm, you didn't need the ocean. If you felt off, tired, sick, you were under the weather. The physical place disappeared, but the feeling stayed. And that's what makes the phrase so interesting, because even now, when we say it, we're still describing that same idea. Something isn't right. Something feels off. Like you've been knocked out of balance. Just like those sailors trying to stand on a ship in rough seas. It's subtle, but it's still there. A quiet echo of a time when the weather wasn't just something you talked about, it was something you had to survive under the weather. Not just a phrase, but a reminder of how closely people once lived with forces they couldn't control, and how even something as simple as feeling sick was shaped by the world around them. But if you think that's interesting, you need to see the real story behind another phrase we use all the time, because spilling the beans has nothing to do with food, and everything to do with a mistake that revealed the truth too soon. Watch our video on why do we say spill the beans next. It's even more unexpected than this,